¿Quieres usar ese? ¿Quieres usar?
Whatever you need me to use.
You can use this or this,
Maybe
whatever.
this, because I talk too much.
Good afternoon, students. How are y'all this afternoon? Good? Yes? Thumbs up? Yes? Okay, good. Welcome to the assembly. We have two very special guests. I know you will be inspired by the time you leave this afternoon. We look forward to hearing the story and the journey of faith of our guest, Abraham and Lily. But before we move forward, I want to invite and make a couple of announcements. I think SA has an announcement this morning or this afternoon. Are they here? Yes, come on up.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I just want to say on behalf of SA, thank you to all those that purchased your mimosa tickets. We're looking forward to seeing you there. Just some quick important reminders about mimosa. The event starts at 5 at the Dallas Oasis, and you are welcome to start showing up at 4:30. The gates do close around 6:30 or 7, so make sure that you're on time. And do not forget your physical ticket, because you will not be able to get in without it. But that's all, and we look forward to seeing you.
Thank you, Samantha. We also have the senior class officers making an announcement this afternoon, so I want to invite them to come up and share the news that they have for you.
Hey, how you guys doing? We're here just to promote out. We have some limited time edition shirts. They're encore shirts. So we're having an event Saturday night, 7:45 starting. Come and take your shirt, limited edition. It's Clash of Clans, so your class color for seniors will be blue. Let's go. Let's hear it out, seniors. All right, purple. This one will be for juniors. No, I'm sorry. Purple juniors. Where's the juniors at? Over here, just one? Just you, Stacy. All right. Sophomores will be red, and freshmen will be orange. So come out, bring your colors, because they are a limited edition. So if you're not there, first come, first serve. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Jairo. Thank you, Andres. One more announcement. This afternoon at 5:30 at the Warden Auditorium, there will be the Spark Pitch competition. So we want to invite you to be there and hear some of the projects that some of you will be sharing. So come and support the Spark competition this afternoon at 5:30. And at this moment, I want to invite President Patterson to introduce us to our speakers this afternoon. President Patterson.
Hello, everyone. I was just looking at my calendar. Who knows how many weeks are left before graduation? Close, Sam. Yeah, 5. Can you believe there are 5 weeks left in your semester? And I know that you might be feeling tired. I just want to encourage you to keep going. Thank you for being here today. Enjoy the rest of the semester. Spend some time with friends. Find some time to de-stress among all of the other stressors that you have in your lives. Today we have a special assembly for you, and I wanted to introduce first one of our speakers who's going to be leading this discussion. Her name is Lily Gil-Valletta. Lily and I actually went to college together at Southwestern Adventist University in a decade that will not be named. And we actually were in school together, and when I started teaching here at Southwestern, I had followed her social media and a lot of the things that she had been doing. She started a company, a multimedia company called Cien Plus, and she was a TV correspondent. She was doing some great things in the space of media and data, and I thought, wow, wouldn't it be cool to bring her back to her alma mater to speak for Profiles of Entrepreneurship? And this is something that I think is so important for you to know. I didn't know Lily as far as I had not had contact with her as an adult, and I sent her a private message on LinkedIn, and she answered. And the next thing I knew, she was flying from New York City to Keene, Texas to speak to our students. And from that first class where she arrived to speak for profiles, through an invitation, through a private LinkedIn message, she now sits on our board of trustees, has a named endowment for our school that provides scholarships, and is very engaged, including bringing people that she has met and worked with to talk to our students. So today, Lily, thank you for your contributions, and I would like to welcome you to Southwestern Adventist University.
I must confess, it's still kind of strange for me to call Anna President Patterson, because we were students together like you all here. Thank you for being here. I am so excited to share with you a great friend and a great leader that is going to have a fireside chat with me. And hopefully you can all feel motivated and inspired. But more than anything, I hope you see a little piece of you in the story that Abraham is going to share. And I feel like you are a piece of me, because when I came to this country from Colombia, where I'm from, without speaking English, Keene, Texas, this very school was the place where I learned how to speak English, because we had an ESL program then. Anyway, but this is not about me. This is about Abraham. I'm going to make my way up to our beautiful stage here, and I will tell you a little bit about Abraham, but I feel like there is a video also that we'll play right after that will even show you more about his work. But Abraham Enriquez, just to give you some background, we met at the White House. I was attending an event, and he was there and caught my attention, a very dynamic young person, kind of knew everybody, and I was like, this is very interesting, and he felt the same towards me. There was this magnetism towards each other, and we are friends since then, and I sit on the advisory council. I'm a special advisor to Bienvenido and all the work that he's doing. But he is the founder and president of Bienvenido US, which you're going to learn more about today, an organization that is dedicated to empowering Hispanics in America by promoting the principles of individual liberty, free enterprise, and sound policy. It's an advocacy organization that expands nationwide. In fact, and he'll tell you more, he has advised heads of state, has been critical in the races of different congressional races, Senate races, governor races. But don't worry, this is not going to be all about politics. This is about purpose and faith in action today. And you'll see it through Abraham's journey. So he has been very involved, as I said, in many different movements that have put at the forefront policies that protect our liberties. And he served as a strategic advisor, actually, during the past administration as we were working on bilateral trade relations with Mexico, which is where his family is from. And you may also see him on television. In fact, we give each other tips and tricks every time we go on air, on Fox Business, Fox News, MSNBC, NBC, CNN, you name it. And I think we'll see a couple of clips of those great appearances today. But the most wonderful thing about Abraham that I'm sure he'll pour out on this stage is that he is not only a person of righteousness, but it's a man of God. You are unapologetic about your faith, my friend, and I love that. In the big stages and places and television sets where you have the privilege of showing up and sharing your message, you've never steered away from that. He graduated from Abilene Christian University with a bachelor's degree in political science and business management, with a minor in Spanish and a concentration in pre-law. So I know you have a lot more to share, but I believe there is a video, so let's hope technology is our friend and our
Mexican migrants.
Nos acompaña Abraham Enriquez, fundador y presidente de la organización Bienvenido.
Founder and president, Bienvenido, Abraham Enriquez.
They were
and
tricked.
quite honestly,
they were
Anna,
tricked
you can
by
be
a
a
woman
Republican by conviction, or you can be a Republican by convenience, and I choose to act on a conviction.
Joining me now to discuss founder and president of Bienvenido, Abraham Enriquez.
We have Abraham Enriquez. He's the founder and president of Bienvenido.
And look, 364 days out of the year, the government pretty much tells the private citizen what to do. But on election day, it's the day where the private citizen can tell the government where they stand. I think what my major issue with national media is that when it comes to Hispanic issues, their token Hispanic leaders or voices are these Latinx, C-list social climbers.
Founder and president of Bienvenido US, Abraham Enriquez.
Poll showed that Hispanics care about the economic issues 2 times more than any other issue down ballot.
There you go. Let's give Abraham a hand. Welcome.
It's so good to be here with you all. What a great crowd. I am just so excited and thankful. And before we start, Lily, you know, this is the last day of March, as we all know. And this month we're celebrating International Women's History Month, which truly we should be celebrating each and every day. And it is incredible to be in a room full of women that I know are going to make history. But I'm sitting in a room with 2 women who I admire and look up to. Lily, you are one of less than 1% of women on public boards in business. That's a huge deal. And President Patterson is the first and I believe only Hispanic woman president of an Adventist University campus in the entire country. So we are quite literally in a room of women in history. So what a privilege for me.
Thank you so much. And why not give a hand to all the ladies in the room? Come on, let's do it. Give it to ourselves. And the guys, of course, because together we need humanity to continue to grow and thrive. So anyway, I'm so excited to have you here because I'm sharing a little piece of me. Welcome to Keene, Texas.
I love this. Guys, if I knew about this place when I was looking for colleges, believe me, I think I would have called this university my network. So it's great to be here.
There you go. We won't hold Abilene Christian against you. It's all good. But anyhow, I have a couple of fun questions. And first of all, you know, we know that an elevator pitch is important in this era where I know many of you are looking at your phones right now. Hopefully you're tweeting about the great things we're saying. You know, our attention is limited. And one thing that I want us all to recognize is that a 30-second introduction is very important for you to kind of like perfect and get out because you never know who you're going to bump into. Maybe even when you walk into an elevator. I just moved from New York back to Texas not too long ago, and I was always going up and down these big elevators, sometimes up to the 30-something floor. So imagine you're going into an elevator, and there is, I don't know, Elon Musk. And you have 30 seconds to tell him who you are and what you do. Go.
Mr. Musk, I'm Abraham Enriquez. I'm the founder and president of Bienvenido, the largest organization dedicated to young, conservative Hispanic outreach. And I think that's kind of, you know, where you start. I want to transition a little bit because it actually did happen last week when I was at an event visiting another university, and there was Mr. Steve Green. I know we've all probably heard of the franchise Hobby Lobby, Mardell's, the Museum of the Bible, plenty of gas stations as well as I knew. And I had 5 seconds of an introduction. And what are things that I know that Mr. Steve Green cares about? He cares about faith and outreach. My organization, we're dedicated to that. So very quickly, I introduced myself. Mr. Green, I'm Abraham Enriquez, founder and president of Bienvenido, an organization dedicated to conservative Hispanic outreach. We have 10,000 Hispanic churches in our network. Boom. I immediately got the phone number and the email. And I think it's because you have to learn how to read who you're talking to, but also provide resource and I guess credibility to what you're doing in their network as well.
Love it. So, and we're expecting to maybe have Mr. Green visit us one day, right? I'm declaring it already. In case you don't know, actually, he as the founder of Hobby Lobby and a group of other Christian businessmen were the ones behind the Jesus campaign during the Super Bowl. Ah, fun fact. They were the ones that paid, I think, roughly $60 million to be able to get 2 spots airing. So he's a very blessed man that I know cares about institutions like ours. But anyway, okay, thank you for that. 30 seconds. So start practicing your own pitch, because at some point in life you will. If not, it's good for dating, by the way. You can try it out with the people you like. Anyhow, but every story, we get to read your resume right now. and it's very impressive, and you're on television and all these great things. And a lot of these young people may be wondering, okay, gee, what do I have to learn from this guy? It looks like you have it all together already. But there is a story behind the bio. And I want to kind of dive into it. And we're doing something kind of fun and different. I had to start with this. That was the day, well, we didn't meet this day, but that was the day we were together at the Rose Garden that is in the White House. And we keep finding each other in different fun places.
I think it's important to note that we were both there for very important
Yes.
dedication. That was the announcement of the Hispanic Prosperity Commission, where the administration at that point brought in, I think, 15 top Hispanic leaders of the country, 15 to 20. I don't know what I was doing there at that point, but obviously Lily was there. And we basically got to celebrate the economic prosperity that was going to happen within the Hispanic community. We now know that from 2016 to pre-pandemic, over 1 million Latinas entered the workforce, small businesses flourished, more first-generation Hispanic students went to four-year college universities, and a lot of that had to do with strategic people like you going into places like the White House and advising lawmakers. So I was very thankful for that day.
Thank you. No, it's been a fun journey, but we've been to Mexico together. But before that, there was this little boy, Abraham.
He was happy in that picture, I have to say. It looks like I'm terrified, but I think I was celebrating maybe I don't know what birthday, but trust me, I was happy.
Maybe the little hat was too tight. You know how
Maybe.
moms do that to
Maybe.
us. It's cute for the picture, but it hurts. So where did you grow up? Tell us your backstory, Abraham.
Yeah, so I grew up in a small town called Lubbock, Texas, West Texas, not too far from here. But at the age of 4, actually from the age of 1 to 4, I spent it in a place called Jalisco, Mexico, because at the time my mom was finishing up her collegiate degree out there, and so the people that were taking care of me were my grandparents. And so my first language was Spanish. And at the age of 4, I moved back to America with my parents and immediately got thrown into an all-English-speaking class because my parents thought that was going to be the quickest way for me to learn English. I come from a very working-class home. Parents were always working, were devoted to family, but they knew that they didn't have time to be able to teach me English outside of school, so they threw me in there, and it was a rough first year of school. I mean, you're the weird kid with the weird last name. I was probably the only Hispanic in the school that didn't learn their language. Wasn't able to make friends because I didn't know how to make friends. I didn't know how to speak to them. But I had two teachers that through my journey of speaking English believed in me and said that I had a superpower because I knew how to speak two languages. And it was because those two public school teachers poured into me that I was thankful to be able to have that confidence to accomplish what I have nowadays. So I come from a very, very loving home. My grandparents are pastors in Mexico. They're actually the senior pastors to the largest evangelical church in the state of Jalisco. So to me, growing up, church was part of everyday life. It wasn't anything that, I thought everyone went to church every single day. If it wasn't a Monday deacons meeting, it was a Tuesday night prayer or a Wednesday night service or a Thursday night, community outreach event. So for me, church played a very pivotal role in early childhood, and I think that every person, if you want to raise, I know you're all students, but sooner or later you're probably going to want to get married, probably going to have kids, and I think that growing up in the church established the sense of community, the sense of love for one another, and the biggest, commandment that we have is love your neighbor as you love yourself. And I credit my grandparents' love for showing me that today.
That's amazing. And of course, that little kid eventually became a young man. Did you know I found that picture?
I need to scrub my Facebook and my social media, which is an advice for each and every one of you. Your employers will be looking into your social media. Luckily, this is a decent photo, so I'm okay.
Who's that friend? Do you even remember who
Yes,
that is?
he has his own production company in the DFW area, and so he does a lot of my organization's production. So it's amazing when you grow in business, if you're blessed enough, you're able to actually employ some of your friends. So it's a venture that we both embarked on.
See, be kind to each other because you may be working together at some point.
Exactly.
And then you went to college. That looks like
a good cheese Danish. Let me tell you something about the Starbucks cheese Danish. It would change your life.
Okay, so what was that? I mean, we see it a little bit there. So what was your major? Tell us about college life at Abilene Christian.
Abilene Christian was incredible. Listen, if you get one thing out of this this session, it is that your time is the most valuable thing that you have. In going to college, I said this a little earlier in the class that we were in, but 4 years is a very long time, especially if you're going to spend it outside of home, being trained, being poured into. So where you choose to go to college is the most vital thing that you would do in your young professional career. For me, I had 3 things that a university had to do for me. One, it had to provide rigor academics, challenge my values, challenge my way of thinking. I wanted to have a more concrete understanding of what I wanted to learn leaving. 2, was it a place where I can make an impact, I can leave kind of a legacy per se after I graduated? And 3, was I going to be poured into spiritually? I grew up in Lubbock, Texas, as I said, so I went to every Texas Tech game. And so growing up, I thought, I'm going to go to Texas Tech. March of my senior year, I sat into a class that was a little too big for my liking. It was auditorium styled. And I realized this isn't, I don't feel home here. You know, when you feel, you know, we have that feeling where you connect. And it was March of my senior year, and I told my parents, joking, I'm not going to Texas Tech anymore. And they actually were very, very, very upset about that. But then I said, no, actually, yeah, I don't want to go to Tech. And I knew that I wanted to go somewhere smaller, but somewhere that a university was going to put their faith before everything else. And so I looked up, and I think the closest private university that was close to me was Abilene Christian. And I dragged my parents a 2-hour drive, and we went to an open campus day, and we left loving the campus. I left enrolled because there was an emphasis placed on training the next generation to be the faith leaders in the workplace, and that to me was incredible. And I feel that here at this university as well, talking to your professors and your academic advisors. I feel like before anything, they care about your spiritual well-being. And this might come to a surprise for you, but there are people out there that are not nice. There are plenty of people that don't want to see you succeed. So if for 4 years you have a president, a vice president, academic professors that are just simply praying for you, believe me, it's going to make a world of difference when you graduate. The fact that for 4 years I had professors that would wake up and pray for me, Lily, that is something that is so invaluable and something that I credit Abilene Christian for. And I was a first
What
generation.
is this, Mr. President?
I was in bad need of a haircut that day, obviously, as you can tell. But I was a first generation college student. I was the first in my family to go to an American university, 4-year American university. And I was hungry and I was eager. And so I got involved in everything that I could get involved in. It's 4 years. How you're going to spend those 4 years really does matter. So every social club, every organization that you can name that I could be a part of, believe me, I was a part of it. And that made people think, hey, you're really active, you're great at connecting, you should run for class president. And I said, probably not. But enough people, encouraged me, and then I became class president my freshman year. Then I became class president my sophomore year. Then I became student body vice president my junior year. And then I became student body president my senior year. All because I got out of my comfort zone and started meeting new people, getting plugged in. And that led to a great way of me getting to give back to my friends, give back to my community, give back to social clubs on campus, and really leave that legacy that I was talking to you about. I want to leave Abilene Christian saying I did that for the university.
That's amazing. So it's interesting how in that leadership, bug that you had inside, you were already campaigning and learning the ropes for what today is a lot of what you do. So be careful what you choose to put your time into, as Abraham says, because it does shape. Everything is a stepping stone for that greater, broader, bolder version of you that the world is craving to see. And here you are graduating with your mom right next to you. And there's a very beautiful story with your mom. We'll get to that in a moment. But I want to show you, again, the power of our parents, that sometimes we may not fully agree with what they tell us. I'm sure they went crazy when you said, I'm not going to Texas Tech. What? But look, it worked out.
I have to give my parents so much credit because, listen, guys, I know how finals feel. I know every end of semester, that stress. And I think my mom had it in her calendar every end of the semester, she knew I was going to call, almost in tears, saying, I give up. I am not coming back because, you know, you go through rigorous academic place. And if you're anything like me, I was so tight-knit, I'm still tight-knit to my family, that leaving my family for 4 years, going to a whole new city, it does take an emotional toll on you. It was the best thing that I could have done because I needed some time to really grow and develop myself. But listen, I think we're all very tight-knit to our family. So being away does kind of draw you back. But you have to remember that it is those times of loneliness and those times of insecurity where you get to really prove to yourself, because you don't have to prove anything to anyone. The only person is yourself. How strong that you can individually be. Because for me, leaving my home, leaving my family, leaving what I was comfortable with, going to a whole new city where I knew no one. I literally knew no one. But I came out a better person because I told myself that this is the hardest thing that I can do at this time, that I can conquer anything afterwards. So in those times of insecurity, of loneliness, remember those times, because you're going to need those times when you're faced with other rigorous things in your professional course.
I love it. And what's interesting here, too, is you see this picture, you know, with your mom, who I absolutely adore. She's an incredible leader and trailblazer herself. And now you get to be at the White House, at all kinds of, you know, government events, and it's just so beautiful. Look what happens then. Fast forward, and these pictures are from you now with a lot of the body of work you're doing. And I'm sure the students are wondering, gee, how did you go from, like, okay, the kid that didn't speak English, then he went to a, you know, small Christian school, we can relate to that, and now you're making big global impact happen. You know, what inspired that? Because sure, family is there. By the way, your beautiful family, I love this picture. That is the foundation, but you still had to do the work. So how did you figure out how to turn all of that hustle and passion and the student that volunteered for everything into the leader that you are today?
So we said this a little earlier, you will always find someone that is probably a little smarter than you, probably a little brighter than you, probably a little bit more experienced than you, but no one can take away your courage. And I think that when you are able to showcase your courage, no one and nothing can ever stop you. And growing up, you know, I saw my parents in their personal entrepreneurship life. They were establishing a business as I was going into grade school. So I saw the hustle and bustle of my parents. Being the oldest of two, I had to be the sibling that was going to school, then helping my parents work afterwards, right? So I saw the importance of dedicating yourself to something. And while someone might else be working a little harder or a little faster than you in some things, the fact that you're courageous and you step up and you do things because you're called to do it, you feel a calling, no one can ever take that away from you. But I also rely heavily on my family. I think family is something that we oftentimes take for granted. You know, my biggest mentors, my biggest friends, my best friends are my family, my brothers, my mom and my dad. And, you know, I'm sure everyone can attest to this, but your parents might give you some advice, and you brush it off, and you can go talk to 100 different people, and they might give you the same advice, and you'd rather take it from the 100 people than from your own parents. But at the end of the day, your parents have gone through things, they've seen things, and they know you better than anyone else. So sometimes going back to what you know is good and moral and just, which is your family, is all you need to really elevate yourself and build that courage. But it's not being afraid of showcasing who you are and where you come from. And let me share a little bit about that, because when I was in college, I didn't know personally what I believed in until I was faced with having to make a decision. And I'll tell you why. I knew that I wanted to go into public policy, which is making laws, supporting people who make those laws. But there was a few things that I was like, I don't know where I personally stand on this. And this story is something that I credit to. This is why I am who I am today. It is because of a story of a young girl who I just truly admire. And this young girl, she was just about to graduate high school, excited to go to college when she became with child. And it wasn't planned, obviously. And suddenly this idea of going to college didn't seem feasible anymore. Obviously, when you're a young girl pregnant, a lot of things get put on pause, right? And she told her guidance counselor, and the guidance counselor referred her to a doctor. And so she goes to the appointment after a while, and the physician, sits down with her, and she does her checkup, and she tells this young girl, she says, all right, I want you to write down all your dreams, all your aspirations, everything that you want to be in the future. Write it down on this piece of paper. And at this point, this young girl has gone through weeks of just negative words. Her friends were no longer there. The father of the child was no longer present. She had no idea what tomorrow was going to look like. And so for the first time in what seemed like years, here's this person that says, I just want to help you. I want to support you. So write down everything that you want to accomplish. So she wrote on that piece of paper, I want to go to college. I want to start a business. I want to start a family. I want to support other women. She wrote every single thing that she ever wanted to accomplish on that piece of paper. And she handed the piece of paper back to the physician with a big smile on her face, eager to hear what was going to happen next. The physician goes line by line, telling her about her dreams, re-emphasizing everything she wants. Takes a long pause, and then rips the paper into shreds. And she tells the girl, that is all your dreams. That is what's going to happen to you, everything you want to accomplish if you continue with this pregnancy. Now, all hope that this young girl had went crashing down with those pieces of papers to the floor. Then the physician sits down next to her, Lily, and she pats her leg and she says, but don't worry, there's still one thing that you can do to ensure that you reach every single thing that you wrote on that piece of paper. This young girl eagerly paid attention, and she says, the physician pulls out a pamphlet, and she starts walking her through the steps of abortion. And this young girl had no idea what that was. She didn't understand what was going on, but she said, if this is what's going to, give me hope for the future, then it's something I should maybe consider. She takes a pamphlet back home to her parents, and they hug her, with tears in their eyes. They say, this isn't going to be easy, but this isn't something that you're going to do. You're going to carry this baby. I want to fast forward just a little bit for each of you. She chooses life. She has the baby, and she does go to college on time, actually. She graduates. She quickly establishes a business with government. She finds an amazing man. She gets married. She starts a family. Every single thing that she put on that piece of paper, she actually accomplished, and then much more. But she realized that she needed to do something to help other women that were faced in the same circumstance that she once was. So she started getting involved with lawmakers and figuring out how to support women who were put into a difficult situation. And as I was sitting with this woman, because she's a great mentor of mine, I realized that this young girl is my mom, and that young child she chose life for is me. And I say that story because at the time, I didn't know, Lily, that as a man I could have a voice in that conversation. But I do speak up on that issue, because had it not been for courageous women and just courage in general, I wouldn't be here today. So that story, that ickiness, that thing that you sometimes might be a little ashamed of saying, that could be your biggest calling and your biggest breakthrough for success in this country. I use that. I use what was supposed to be something that I was ashamed of, something that I was supposed to be saddened of. I use that and created an amazing organization that is now advising presidents, governors, senators, congressmen. We're across 6 different states. We had our own White House briefing, as you can see, because I decided to be vocal about the things that I care about, because courage. Now, I want to focus on one little small thing of that story. It is not so much that my mom chose life. While I'm very grateful for that, it's something that she did that was even more important too. Immediately following that meeting, she ran to her parents, who instructed her and who guided her to choose life. When you're faced in a difficult situation, who you run to is going to determine how successfully you handle that situation. So your inner circle, who you're with, who you do community with, who you choose life with, when you're in difficult situations, those people that you run to are either going to set you up for success with their advice, or they're going to tear you down and make you do things that you're going to regret for the rest of your life. Scripture talks to us time and time again that community is important. Sharing your truth, sharing the truth, sharing the gospel, sharing what is good, what is moral, what is just is important. What's even more important is who you're sharing that with, right? And so I am thankful that my mom had parents, my grandparents, that positively impacted her to choose life for me here. And I take that as a lesson to any time, Lily, that I have a difficult situation that I'm in, I always run to people that I know that are going to build me up, give me the insight that I need, but also correct me when I'm wrong. How many times have I called you, Lily, and said, I'm about to do this interview, I need support, I need help, and you don't sugarcoat things and you offer me wisdom and advice, but you as a leader, you have to learn how to take things even when you don't want to hear them a certain way, right?
Oh my gosh. I've heard the story multiple times. It always gets right, pierces my heart in a good way. I want us all to just reflect on that for a moment. So Abraham's mom's name is Betty, and I think she embodies courage. At a very young age, she had to make a very difficult choice. And I'm just going to ask all of us, just because I want to honor her in this moment, even though she's not here with us, can we please give Betty and the Bettys of the world a big hand? Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, I'm getting emotional. She did something very hard. And Abraham is still carrying a very hard message. Because guess what? Not always standing up for your values or what is right is necessarily popular. And I have so much admiration for all of you here because you're living in a time when the world is kind of wild and crazy. I did not have social media when I was sitting in those pews in this campus, and life is harder. Harder because you're bombarded by messages that could be confusing. Harder because anything can go viral in a blink, good or bad. Because anyone that makes a mistake in a silly night somewhere, which we all have with our friends, is recording it these days and has evidence. So I am inviting you to be Betty and have courage. Have courage, and that is a lot of the fuel. It wasn't until I learned that story about Abraham, that he is a testament of life, that I understand why you are able to stand side by side or in front of world leaders. That was at the White House. That was the Christmas gathering at the White House too. With our governor, with Dan Crenshaw, which is a great leader from Texas. And the list kind of goes on and on. Mexico, Dr. Carson, Vice President Pence. It goes on. And this is not about politics or parties. Even because I've met with President Trump and also Biden and Obama, just for the record, it's not easy because you get judged. The first time I met with President Trump, I had hate mail all over my social media, people that didn't even know me. I wasn't there politicking. I was advocating for Hispanic business owners. And I don't care who's in that office. I'm going to show up if I can advocate for Hispanic business owners. So if you're invited to be around the table, put judgment, what people are going to say aside, because I can tell you for a fact, Abraham has gotten a lot of heat for even being in that type of picture. But there's something bigger that moves you. And I think we can all learn from that courage. What's in your mind?
So I just want to, you touched on something so important, and that is if you're called, you answer, right?
Yes.
You take especially as a young professional, when you're trying to figure out what your future looks like, you take every opportunity, you take every meeting, you go to every single meetup that you can, because you never know what one opportunity is going to lead to a massive explosion of your career. I was invited to a certain White House event, and I'm going to just be honest with you all. Back then, I wasn't the biggest fan of President Trump. But when the White House calls, you answer. Because if you truly care about making a difference, you don't care who you're doing business with. You're just there to get business done. But because I answered the call to that and I said yes to going to a meeting there, I met a gentleman who had the same passion for the things that I cared about and became my very first investor and gave me a six-figure digit donation to start my organization. That would not have happened had I not said yes to going to a place that I was uncomfortable going with. So I say that to share with you that opportunity sometimes looks disguised as something that doesn't look all that great and shiny, but take every single thing that you can, because more importantly, God calls us to be light in the darkness, right? You can't be light if you're always in the daylight. You sometimes have to go into places. I'm not calling the White House or President Trump dark. I'm not doing that. What I'm saying is sometimes when you're invited to things that don't make sense to you, take it, because you never know who you're going to meet, what you're going to do, the conversations you're going to have. They're going to impact the rest of your life.
Wow. And that courage has taken you to be on air a lot. And a lot of people don't realize how hard it is to do live television because there's no script. The hosts have a teleprompter when they're reading questions and introducing segments, but we, the guests, sometimes don't even know what they're going to ask. I was on a full-hour show yesterday, and I had to talk about the shooting, which was not fun as the mom of two kids that are in a Christian school, in middle school, elementary school. It was very hard.
And
you
racial injustice, and I mean, you had a ton of
I
heavy
had to-
topics on one.
Yesterday was
setting.
a heavy show, I must say. But it's that courage and never, ever deviating from what you know is the values and the compass that has you in that position at that moment. So I want to talk about that because courage manifests in different ways. By the way, you may see this here, Abraham on television, and be like, well, that's not going to be me. That sounds very big and noble. Courage also comes when that one friend is asking you for advice. Courage comes when you are being driven to somewhere in a place and at a time that you know you shouldn't be going to. We've all been there, don't worry. I was on this campus also having fun in Dallas, I'll confess. But it's knowing and having that courage and the right people around you that bring that light into the darkness. But I think we're going to have fun here with a very interesting moment that happened not too long ago to Abraham. We all know, and especially as immigrants, it's a very tough and emotional topic, that there is a lot of work and a lot of challenges to be handled and managed and done and fixed at our southern border. It is very sad. I have visited the border on the U.S. side, Mexico side, have been to the, different places where they're being detained or families are being just packed into teeny spaces. It is just not right. Not right. There's a lot to be done. But it's a topic that gets emotional, and sadly in today's world is an us versus them, and are you on the right side, and are you supposed to say this if you're Hispanic or not? And let's just take a look at some headlines that came up not too long ago. Let's see if I can read from here. Ana Navarro slammed for being Republican by convenience. Hispanic activist slams CNN Ana Navarro on, I can't read. Anyway, the headlines were endless. After Abraham called me, I remember that day when he said, Lily, I'm going on CNN tomorrow morning. I was like, great, that's awesome. They're putting me up to debate Ana Navarro. If you've seen Ana, she's in The View. I actually know her personally. She's actually really fun when she's not on the set. But on the set, she turns into like this, very different character. And Abraham had to manage that. And I remember when we talked, I said, rise above emotion, state the facts, do not get caught up. Because as my mom, rest in peace, used to tell me in Spanish all the time, para pelear se necesitan dos, like to get into a fight you need two. And I remember I mentioned that, but this wasn't my 2 cents to the great job that you did. I think there is a video, hopefully we can get it to work. Forks from AV, there is a click there that you can go into it. And let's make sure the audio is loud.
I want to first start off by saying that as a first-generation Mexican-American, I'm very sympathetic to what's going on at the border and the lives
Let's go
of
back,
the migrants,
because I want
as
to hear
Anna
it from
mentioned.
the beginning. All right, there you go. This is Courage in Action Live.
Listen, I want to first start off by saying that as a first-generation Mexican-American, I'm very sympathetic to what's going on at the border and the lives of the migrants. As Anna mentioned, just coming to our U.S. border, it's easy to have empathetic values or insights to open border and weak border policies if you live in the Upper East Side of Manhattan or Malibu. But these are our communities and these are our resources that are being strained. And all we're asking for is for other states, which, by the way, have sanctuary city laws, to start picking up their weight in this crisis that we have caused by the lack of attention from our president.
Frankly, Abraham, I don't know how you as a Mexican American, and I don't know how you can, with a straight face, say that what the governor was simply offering was transportation. Please don't be so cynical. It's a little early in the morning. You know damn well that it was much more than that. Let's call it what it is. It is a political stunt. And please don't use your Hispanic last name to come on here and try to, justify this as just offering transportation.
I actually spend a lot of time in our southern border, and I invite you to come down and celebrate National Hispanic Heritage Month down there. You'll probably see all of the Hispanic heritage celebrated there. And so that's why I'm saying that what we're seeing in our southern border is lack of attention. Our Border Patrol agents are overworked. There is no federal resources that are even trickling down to our border. So in order for us to say that flying migrants who were homeless, Anna, who had no food, who had no shelter, to a city in a sanctuary state that has more than enough resources is bad, to me, that is complicit to what's going on.
They were
and
tricked.
Quite honestly,
they were
Anna,
tricked
you can
by
be
a
a
woman
Republican by conviction, or you can be a Republican by convenience, and I choose to act on a conviction.
Let's give it a hand.
So I actually should send Ana Navarro some flowers for a thank you appreciation because of that clip. As you know, networks know each other, and so then you're asked to go on another network. So, but I remember I wasn't going to take that opportunity because I had just been doing national media for about 3 weeks at that point. Ana Navarro has been doing national media for well over 20 years. So someone who is seasoned, veteran, and experienced. And I was going to let my fear keep me from one of the most viral things that have grown my influence in the media world. But I remember you talking to me, Lily, and you saying it's probably going to get tricky. Don't fear of that, but offer information first and then insight. Too many times we get so mad about someone testing our values or our faith or our stances on things that we speak out of emotion first and we lose the argument immediately. When you offer information, real data, real facts first, and then why you believe a certain way, you create a well-rounded argument. And I'm not saying all of you are going to go on CNN and debate someone about border. No, this can be something simply as a business plan that maybe you and a business partner disagree with, or maybe when you're in a relationship, establishing some values with someone that you want to commit a long-term, lifetime a commitment with, or someone that's questioning you about your faith. That's a big one, right? How many times do we want to overprotect our faith without offering why we truly believe in something with information first? So, that clip, I think, when someone is questioning you based on your ethnicity, based on your race, based on your Hispanic last name, it's easy to lose control a little bit. But you have to stick to the program. I knew that I had a couple of seconds up there, and I was representing all the tireless Border Patrol agents that I had spent over a week with down at the border previous to this segment. And I wanted to ensure that if I was speaking on behalf of them, that I was doing it in a manner that they would be proud of and not embarrassed of.
Yeah, and I love also that you honored the migrants. I am an immigrant. You are also the son of immigrants. And it is broken. I mean, this is not about politics. This is about values. This is not about, parties, but it's about standing for humanity. And you did such a beautiful job there. It's not about that. And I think we're getting to the end here. Your faith is clearly very important to you. And we want to make sure that I think it's been already said. I know we're getting to an end. People need to run to class. What's in the future? I figured this was a great futuristic type of picture.
Yeah.
In the next 3 to 5 years, where is Bienvenido? Where do you see yourself going?
We want to be the talent pipeline that propels not only, remember, Hispanics has really not much to do with ethnicity and race. That might sound a little crazy. Being Hispanic is about values. If you value individual liberty, limited government, and faith and family, then to me, in my books, you're Hispanic, right? So what we want to do is equip the next generation of young leaders to be in all areas of success, whether it be business, whether it be policy, whether it be politics. We're actually collaborating with several big business organizations that want to hire out of amazing faith-based universities like Southwestern University, as well as working with different organizations to ensure that maybe the next White House administration has some righteous leaders as well. So if this is something that is interesting to you, we want you to come on board. We want to support you. And we actually have a 1776 education fund. And why do you care about that?
Pay
Well, because
attention to that. Everyone in this room qualifies for that. I think it's up to $10,000 per
we
student.
are giving up to $10,000 in scholarship per student within our education fund, and that is a scholarship fund. And all we basically want to do is ensure that you have the resources to excel in your academic studies, but also the mentorship and advice. If it wasn't for the business leaders and academic leaders that poured into me, I would not be here where I am today. And so I just want to ensure that we're doing that for the next generation. And listen, one last thing I want to make sure to recap, because this is very important to me. When I was in college, I found myself sometimes being very lonely, right? Sometimes we don't want to talk about that. But I, would be very, very happy one day, and the next day I could be a little funky. I could just be in a weird spot. I don't know if you feel those days where you're just like, I'm just not feeling all my best. And every month I'd sit down with our university president and to have lunch, and I would offer insight and mentorship, and they would offer insight and mentorship to me. And at the end of every lunch, he would say, okay, Abraham, what are we going to pray for this month? And I remember one month I said, President Schubert, I want you to pray that God gives me all the joy, all the happiness. I just have these weird days where I just feel so gloomy and sad, and I just want good friends, and I want family members that just can make me happy all the time, and I just want to be joyful. And he looks at me and he laughs and he says, Abraham, that's never going to happen. God's never going to answer that prayer for you. I look at him confused. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what Bible you're reading. The Bible that I'm reading says that God wants me to be joyful and prosperous and happy. And he says, no, of course, that's absolutely true. But the second, and this is the most important thing, the second that you decide that you are set apart and that you're different and you're committed to the Lord, you no longer belong to this world or this earth, right? Meaning those days that you feel super, super down, you feel super, super low, it's the best way to describe it is he told me, if you were to go spend the night when you were a child at a friend's house, the first night you'd probably be okay. What about the second night? The third night? Fourth night? By the fifth night, you're probably wanting to go back home. When you stoop at those low levels of emotional energy, we have no energy to continue, that's your spirit reminding you that you don't belong here. Don't get too comfortable. You're never going to find full satisfaction, full joy until you're called back home with your Father. So in those days where you feel gloomy, where you feel like no one understands you, where you feel like you're alone in this world, that's a good thing. Let me tell you why. Because that means that you are so far set apart from this world and that your soul truly knows what happiness is, and one day we're going to get there. But until then, what legacy are you leaving in this world today? And so I want you to take that as encouragement whenever you feel sad, down, lonely, depressed. Sometimes we want to walk ourselves to that cliff. Just know that in those moments, take a pause, take a break, and realize it is your spirit telling you, don't get too comfortable because there's way better things ahead. I would be very sad if you were a very happy person and that you were fulfilled and satisfied and there's nothing else that you're looking forward to, because to me that means that you've already reached your full potential on this earth. But if you go through waves of sadness, of gloominess, of maybe you feel like no one understands you, that to me makes me feel that you are truly set apart and a true leader. Last statement. I was born to a mom at an early age, single mother, working home. I didn't have a father for the first 4 years of my life. Statistically speaking, I wasn't supposed to succeed. I wasn't even supposed to graduate high school, but I decided that I didn't want to be a statistic. I wanted to be a leader. I wanted to be set apart. I wanted to rise above what stats tell me that I should and shouldn't do. So today I want to tell you that you're far more than just a statistic. If you're the first in your family to come to college, if you're the first in your family to be an American, you're set so much far above than what a stat or a number is beside your name. And I just can't wait to be able to say that one day I spoke to a crowd of world changers. So thank you. I appreciate you all.
Thank you so much. And yes, you can clap, absolutely. I am sure that we can all learn many lessons from your life journey. Thank you so much. You see the QR on the screen, or you can use menti.com. There's many different ways to get involved, from like internships and volunteering. I know you have an entire network of college campuses as well as churches. There is the beginning of the beginning with even Bienvenido at SWAU and also potentially other Adventist universities, because you are the change makers, you are the leaders. I know there are many Bettys, Abrahams, Lilies, Annas, and Tonys in this room, and we want you to activate because it's never too early, and also it's never too late. Don't ever lose that fire and hustle for giving the best of who you are, your God-given talents, to a world that needs you now more than ever. So feel free to just give us your information there. And there is also the scholarship fund. You see, there's many opportunities. And thank you, Tony, President Patterson, and everyone for having us.
Thank you, Lily. Thank you, Abraham, for being here. They're super busy people, and we are very grateful that you spend a few minutes of your super busy time with our students. Thank you very much. Can we give them one more round of applause? Thank you. You are now dismissed, so let's just close with a word of prayer and carry on with our day. Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity that you give us to be here, to learn and gain insight from leaders in this community, in this country. You have a plan for each of our students here, we ask that that plan becomes a reality in their lives. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Have a good afternoon.